Thanks, Scott. I'm here at the Curry Center, and we're talking a little bit of UNB Varsity Reds women's basketball, and I've got VRED center Caitlin Mangold here with me. And Caitlin, I guess there's no other way to say it. You're an absolute presence underneath the rim. Tell us a bit about your game and what you feel you bring to this team.
I think an important part of our game is definitely defense, and we spend a lot of time in practice working on rebounding and boxing out, and it's been a focus for us this week, preparing to play Memorial, so that's definitely going to be a big part of our game today.
And looking back on the first half of the season, before tip-off in the game tonight, you're sitting in third place in the IAUS. How did you feel about the first half of the season?
I think the first half of the season was pretty good for us. I mean, it definitely brought a lot of things to work on, and at Christmas especially, we came up with a list of things that we had to be better in for the second half of the season to be where we want to be in the standings.
And you got a pretty cool experience last year being able to go to nationals and play on the home court. Looking ahead, what are some of the things that you need to do to get back to nationals this year?
I mean, as I mentioned before, our defense is a huge part. We need our rotations on defense, boxing out. We need to make sure everybody is doing their job and doing their part for team defense, and rebounding is a really huge part of that.
And we're going to be interviewing Laura Kay up next. What do you think she brings to the team, and what's your favorite part about her game?
I love playing with Laura Kay. She's definitely a huge part of our scoring. If she's not scoring, we really struggle. And she's quick, and especially in practice this week, rebounding, that was one of her strengths. So hopefully we're going to see a lot of that tonight too.
If the two of you played a game on one-on-one, who do you think would come out on top?
It depends if it was full court or half court, I think. She would definitely beat me down the court, but if we played within the key, maybe, you can't leave the red, I think I would have a little bit more of an advantage, but you never know. It's a toss-up.
All right, Caitlin, thank you so much, and best of luck going forward the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
That was Caitlin Mangold, center for the UNB Varsity Reds. And now I've got Varsity Reds guard Laura Kay. And Laura, the first half of the season went pretty well. You were sitting in third place at the break. How do you feel about this team?
I feel really good about this team. Our team chemistry is something that it's just so special. We seem to work really well together on the court and off the court, which is great, something you really want. And we seem to be getting better with time. We're really improving each week in practice, and that's good, so we're not peaking too early. So hopefully got a good shot at the end game.
Yeah, and you mentioned not peaking too early. It always seems to be the most consistent team down the stretch is the team that comes out on top and gets that ticket to nationals. What are some areas of the game for the UNB Varsity Reds that you want to be more consistent at?
I think that's a really hard question, but the fourth quarter, always for us, we started talking about making sure that we're a fourth quarter team, so that we're always being consistent with our defense, our offense, but especially defense is something we really do need to focus on. Because if we can stop another team from scoring, even if we're not scoring for a little while, you're still going to be ahead in the end. So defense for sure.
And you got a pretty great experience last year being able to play at nationals in your home barn. Talk about that a little bit and maybe how that helps you going forward.
Well, nationals was a really special experience, especially having it here, where not many teams in the country can say that they've gotten to play in their home gym at nationals, and especially competing against the number one team where we only lost by 6. Such a close game was amazing, and I think that experience where most of our team is returning is going to do us a great deal moving forward. It's going to really help us because an experience is never a bad thing to have, right?
And coming up next, we're going to be interviewing your coach, Jeff Speedy. Talk about his coaching style and, how does he get this team to tick?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. Speedy's a great coach. Definitely motivates us. Really some good pregame speeches. But overall, just running real good practices is where our game starts because you practice like you play. Definitely look up to him as a mentor, a coach. Really good coach.
All right, Laura. Well, thank you so much. Best of luck down the stretch, and just good stuff.
Thank you so much.
That was Laura Kay, guard for the UNB Varsity Reds. And now I am joined by UNB Varsity Reds head coach Jeff Speedy. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
My pleasure.
So your team currently sits in third place in the AUS. How did you feel about the first half of the season?
Well, it seems like a long time ago now. We have 4 or 5 weeks off because of exams and Christmas. So it was a long time ago that we wrapped up our first term play, but it was a great start for us. We won 3 games on the road, 3 out of 4 games on the road, which is really important in our conference. If you don't get some W's on the road, it's very tough to get up in the upper half of the standing. So it was nice for us to have some success on the road and defend at our home court as well. So it was a good start, but that's all it was the start. The bulk of the games are now, so now it gets serious.
And as a coach, what sort of stamp do you try and put on this team in terms of style of play?
Well, that's a great question. I think it kind of depends on your personnel. Obviously, this year we've got a great balance. We've got a lot of depth. There's not a single player on our roster that you could look at her and say, she has a chance to be the MVP in the conference. But we have a lot of really good players and probably 4 or 5 players that honestly could be an all-star. So we try to score by committee. We try to rebound by committee. I think we do a pretty good job defensively. So I think, for me, I don't mind winning games 54-51. I don't think it's exciting for the fans, but I certainly like it when our team is engaged and physical and doing a good job defensively. So I guess if you're looking for a stamp, it would probably be our depth and maybe our defense.
And we just had Laura Kay and Caitlin Mangold on the show. Talk about those 2 players a little bit, and what do you feel they bring to your squad?
Well, I just said there are 4 or 5 players that could easily be AUS All-Star and All-Star, and both of those 2 fit that category. Laura Kay, I think, is one of the best scorers in the conference, and Caitlin Mangold, is a great scorer as well. But she leads the league in block shots by double. Actually, the person that's in second place has half as many block shots as she does on the season. So she's a very good anchor to have defensively. They're both good leaders. They're both great students. They're both great people. So they do a lot of nice things on the courts, and they're great mentors for our younger players, and they're great role models for the young girls in our community. We're very involved in the community, so it's nice to have quality people like them, kind of at the front of the line, so to speak.
And, we talk a lot about consistency. Oftentimes, at the end of the year, it's the most consistent squad that's going to punch that ticket to nationals. What areas of the game would you hope that this team could be more consistent in?
I think we turn the ball over too much sometimes, and I think we take some difficult shots instead of moving the ball a bit more and finding the easy shot. So, there are games we don't turn it over that much, and there are games that we have, 15 assists when we have 21 made field goals or something like that. So that's probably a little low, but you know what I mean. We, if you have 12 made field goals at halftime and you only have 3 assists, then you're not moving the ball that well. So, we're certainly really trying and emphasizing to make that extra pass and to, pass up a good shot to get a great shot. And then anytime you turn the ball over, you give team extra possessions, and we definitely don't want to do that. So if I could wave a magic wand and have 2 things be in our favor every game, those would probably be the 2.
All right, Jeff. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks a lot.
That was Jeff Speedy, head coach for the UNB Varsity Reds women's basketball team.